Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. This is part 2 of the Kawasaki KX65 mechanical restoration. Let's see what happens. Here's that annoying bolt, nut, screw that I had to drill out. This is a retainer for this bearing here for the shift drum. Okay. Alright, so I got my frosty crank here. Ooh. Oh, it almost seemed like it was going to go right in. I believe what I have to do is get this clip. This would be the stock clip that holds on the primary gear. Get that on there. Okay, so now that has something to bite against. So this screws onto here. So what we have to do is pull the crank into the bearing, which is press fit, by using this gadget. Okay. Give you these bars, and these are supposed to stand the puller off from the case, like that, so you can get even pull on it. There we go, just like that. Okay. This should bring it the rest of the way. I don't really know how to get a good shot at it. There we go. You see this gap here. I think that's it. that so it destroys the clip. Good thing I bought another one. Okay, alright. Alright, well, yeah, so the next step is to put the transmission back in, and then we'll get the other case half on top of here, and then I basically repeat the same procedure to pull this side through to the other side. This part I'm going to have to struggle with, but you get the idea. Okay, putting the gasket sealer on, case sealer. So we pull the crank through this bearing in this side of the case. You see that it comes together evenly, and all of the little things in there have to go into the proper holes. How do you like that for a description? All right. even. Yep, just about done. Let's turn. Okay. So this, I don't want to pull it too much. I think it's together. Crank moves. Input shaft moves. Yep. Okay. All right. I think that's good. So I'm going to put the crank bolts in now. £80 inch. All right. Stator back on there. There's an alignment mark right up here. Alright, so sprocket, so there's two O-rings. Go down there, and this keeps the oil from going through the center of the standoff, which I have to go find. Good enough. Alright, so this is the water pump drive gear. This little gear drives the water pump. And this is the primary drive. that's hanging up on? Oh, the spring. Spring is not supposed to be there. Scared me. Yes. Shifter. Alright, transmission test. Neutral. Okay, that's first. Neutral. Second. Third, hello. Alright, so it's in neutral. That's first, one down. Up, second. Third. Third. Four. Five. Is that six? It must be six. 5, 4, 3, 2. No, that's 1. That's neutral. Second, third, fourth, fifth. Six. It's about the output shaft spinning. It doesn't sink as fast. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Neutral. Alright. Good. Now I can put the clutch on. But I have a clutch kit. Alright, so I splurged $30 and I bought a brand new clutch kit for KX65. Springs and plates. I'm sure there's probably nothing wrong with these ones, but we'll just check. Yeah, this all looks fine. Could probably use this on some other bike. I was afraid I don't know how long the bike's been sitting around. I mean, it's obviously been sitting around for a while. And was afraid the clutch would be stuck. So, it's not. Okay, so put that over there. And put this one together. That's it. Put the kick gear in. Oh, don't tell me. No. I was supposed to put this in before. I swear I've taken this out. Nope. Have to take it all apart. Dowels in. I put grease around, wheel bearing grease around. I started using that method instead of sealer because you can reuse the gasket if you want to take it off. That looks good. Oop. Got some. Clutch ain't gonna work without that. .73 inch-pounds on the impeller bolt. arrow goes exhaust that way. So I coated the cylinder with two-stroke oil. I put a little bit of grease at the bottom here to try and facilitate putting the rings in. Base gasket is there. My locating dowels are there. It's useless. Let's try it again. The rings have to sit at just the right location. There's a pin and they squeeze together and both sides bump up against that pin. And if you have them in the wrong spot, the pin will be under the ring and you can break the ring or ridiculously scratch up your nice new cylinder. And of course you don't want to do that. It's moving perfectly. Good. All right. So there's 4 bolts, nuts that go around the sides. And I gotta find the torque on that. Alright, I cleaned off the surfaces. I removed all the gasket material from this and cleaned it up. I'm going to try it with no gasket sealer. So it's 15 foot-pounds, and now the final torque is 18 foot-pounds. Go. Okay, top end's back together. Intake. Yep. See it? Alright, so I got one of these forks cleaned up here, and I'm following these instructions. So, I need to oops. These have bushings, one on the end, there's one at the top. If I was rebuilding them, I would put new bushings in instead of just new seals, but I don't care. So I'm just going to put in the new seals. Yeah. So, put a little oil in there. Okay, so there's those parts. And then, looks like that's dirty. Okay. So, this goes through here. And this goes on here. And this all goes into here. I gotta get one of these ready to go in. Alright, so now top bushing should just push right into place. I don't know if you can really see it. Alright, so I got my bushing, not bushing, the seal driver. So I need to get the seal low enough so that this clip can get in there. One down. $250 milliliters. Yeah, so off camera you can hear me fiddling with it. I'm trying to figure out why the engine is locked up. So as soon as it cooled down, it could start back up again. Right, so I thought I would explain. So you can hear, like, I get on the bike a little bit, rev it up, get it into its power band, and almost immediately when I let off the throttle, you can hear the engine go, and then you hear the tire go, because the tire is skidding because the engine locks up. Oh, I pull the clutch in, I let it back out, it skids again, and then I come to a stop, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then I went and I kicked it, and it immediately, after a few seconds, it had cooled down enough to where the engine kicked again. So I'm like, what the hell was that? Was there something wrong with the chain? Something with the transmission? It started back up. I took it for a drive. I went flying down the road and got on it again. And as I was starting just to turn, there's a curve right around this corner. There's a corner here. So as I was turning around that corner, it did it again under load. And whenever you're turning, the knobby rear tire locking up, and immediately the thing wants to go out from under you. But luckily I caught it quick enough, pulled the clutch in, coasted down to the bottom of the hill, tried letting the clutch out a couple times, just the tire would skid because the engine was locked up. Got down to the bottom of the hill, and it started back up again. And so I putted back up here, I let it cool down, I left it for a couple hours. I'm like, maybe it's a fluke. Then I took it out again, warmed it all up, drove down to the end of the street. There's a cul-de-sac down the bottom of a hill, and I come bombing up the hill. I'm like, all right. And I got on it, and it didn't give me any problems. I went back down the hill, came back up again, got on it, and it seemed like it was okay. And then just as I was taking the corner, I was getting on it, and the tire locked up. And I don't even remember exactly what happened. The tire basically locked up, the bike slammed to the ground. I must have gone like this to hold myself, and I took an impact into my elbow joint, hurt my elbow joint, hurt my skin, road rash. I don't know if you can see. You can see the scar. Hopefully that'll heal. But my elbow area here, I had big bandages for like 2 weeks. It sucked because just a couple days later we were going to North Carolina to scout out houses. Yeah, and I hurt my elbow, so I couldn't. I had to back off on the gym for about 2 weeks. That's just barely went away maybe 2 weeks ago. So like probably 6 weeks altogether. I also had a pain here. A lot of times when you crash and you throw your arm out like that, you can take an impact into your collarbone area and crack your collarbone. I think I came very close to doing that. Luckily I have very strong bones. Anyway, I felt like a complete jackass. I'm laying out, it would be great if we had video of it, but I don't. I was laying out in front of my mailbox, and my neighbor came running out and helped me. He picked the bike up, turned the gas off, and then we called my wife and like, scrape it. I couldn't even stand up. I had to because I hurt my, there's like a big welt right here. You can still see it. There's like a scar, and it hurt my foot also, so I was limping. It just sucked. And I think it's all because I did not gap the rings to make sure that the rings had the minimum clearance. I think that's what it is. That cylinder had a steel sleeve inserted in it from a company that does steel sleeves. And if they didn't, if they didn't do the bore exactly correct, I don't know, probably, or maybe just that quality of the Nomura piston and rings are not as good as Wiseco piston and rings, so maybe you need to be very careful when you put the rings in to make sure they're gapped. It was my fault. Anyway, yeah, hard lesson learned, and as you can see, the bike is way too small. So that's what happened there. So KX65, got the engine apart, and here's the damage. And it's very strange to me that it's like it seized and wore away the piston ring right here, right under the top pin, and it appears to the bottom ring appears to be in its proper position on its pin. So I don't really get what happened. Maybe the piston gap was no good. It was too tight, and that's what caused it to screw up, maybe. Well, I have some other parts. Let me go get those. So my first plan was that I bought this cylinder, and it was a used cylinder. I can see cross-hatching on it, like maybe someone honed it, and it was sold as good cylinder, and it came with a piston. Here, let me unwrap this. Alright, so this piston came with that cylinder. It looks like it was, I don't know if it's taken out of a running bike or not. So who knows how healthy this is. But what came with the bike originally, when I bought it, was this brand new Wiseco piston that it looks like somebody tried to put in and slightly damaged over here. Like maybe they put it in the cylinder and it got caught. I think I was looking at these rings. These are the rings that came with this new piston. And I think I saw some marks on there. Yeah, there's a big mark right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Yeah, it's impossible. I don't know why this thing doesn't focus. Maybe you see, maybe you don't. Anyway, I had bought new rings. I mean, this used cylinder was like 70 to 90 bucks, I forget. These rings were like 50. That whole thing here that I ruined, I mean, I guess I ruined it. The only thing I can think of is that I didn't gap the rings and they seized because I didn't gap them. So do I use this brand new cylinder? No, I can't. I feel it. It's got a burr in it. This has a steel sleeve. I could get that bored if I had to. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cylinder that I had bought, and I'm going to use the new Wiseco piston, and I'll clean up this little burr right here with some sandpaper, and I'll put these new rings in. Don't know what that is for. And that's it. And then I'll put that back together, and I will gap the rings to make sure that I've got the right gap on the rings. Okay, that's definitely the right piston. And then I'll throw it back together. And I bought some new grips to replace these ones that I ruined when I wiped out. So, yeah, I don't know how much of this I'll show. I think I'll show gapping the rings, but I've already shown like all the assembly and everything. I'm not going to re-show that, but this is where I'm at with this right now. All right. So I got the piston ring in there. Alright, so piston ring end gap is supposed to be 0.15 to 0.35 millimeters. So that's 0.15 is that one, all the way up to 0.35. So it's a pretty big gap. Range, alright. So it has to be at least the minimum, which is 0.15. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so that's minimum is okay. Let's try the maximum. Can't get the maximum through. Let's try this one. That one is tight. 0.25. 0.28. How about 0.28? No. Okay, so this one is good. This one is like 0.25. .25 is pretty snug. .28. How about 0.28? No. Okay. All right. So I think our end gaps are good on this piston in this cylinder. So I got to take the intake boot off of here, and I got to take the cylinder head off and put it back together. totally scared of it. All right, well, good test. Seems like it's fixed. I didn't go and take it wide open. I'm just scared the hell out of it. I'm scared of it. I don't want to hurt myself, and I don't want to hurt it. It runs. I'm going to go put it on Facebook Marketplace and get rid of it. All right, well, thanks for watching. Yeah, I did get rid of the bike. I put it on Facebook that very day, and 3 days later, I sold it for $1,000. I think I put $14.50 into it. I paid $6.50 for the bike. It was $6, and the kid wasn't even at his house. He was at work. He didn't even tell me. I show up at a house, and like his parents answered the door, and his father showed me the bike. I was like, all right, I'll give you $600 because I don't know, what's going on. If the bottom end's any good, top end's any good. Obviously it came with a brand new piston, and I'm like, okay, well, he bought a brand new piston, he took it all apart, and then he didn't put the piston in. Why? So something's up with it. Even 600 I think was too much. So I was like, oh, can you give me $650? And I asked his dad, I was like, he's a good kid, he's got good grades. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll give him $650. So I take the thing apart, and of course the bottom end is just wrecked, completely unusable. And he didn't bother to mention that. That little shit. So I put the thing on Facebook, and that kid almost immediately pings me. He's like, oh, you got it running. Hey, that's so great. That's cool. And I didn't respond to him, but I'm like, yeah, okay. Thanks for selling me, a bike with a crap bottom end. Yeah, like I said, the channel is wasting my money on motorcycles. I have to reserve some of my money because we are moving. We are we are going to move to North Carolina next year. I'm saving up money. I'm actually selling a bunch of dirt bikes. I've been selling them and putting some of that money away. And I'll sell this CB550 if I ever get it finished. And there's a KZ1000 sitting out in the shed, a 1980 KZ1000 LTD. I just need to put the carbs back on it. I have a new paint set for it. I can get rid of that thing. But there's only so many hours in the week. Plus, if I want to do anything, like go for a drive in the Mustang with the family, it just kind of eats up, the weekend. For instance, last weekend we had two events. I had my 35th high school reunion, and that was fun. And then I also had a wedding. The wedding took up the whole day of Sunday, so I didn't do anything last weekend. This weekend I got another event, and my wedding anniversary is 17th wedding anniversary is Sunday, but I should be able to do some work, hopefully. So this is the KX65. I believe the next video is going to be on the CB550. The Z1R is still sitting in my shed, and it's the end of September right now, so it'll be October until I push it in here. Maybe I can get 1 month of riding it. I really need to get a bunch of these bikes now, these projects completed, and some of the stuff that I have up in my attic, which are project bikes that are all taken apart, I gotta put them back together and just sell them as, here's a project bike for $400. Take it or leave it, that kind of thing. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. And yeah, you can leave your comments about how ridiculous it is. for a 53-year-old man to wipe out on a KX65. I'll have to start using that GoPro, so if I wipe out again, it'll be on video. It probably would have been an awesome crash to watch. I think I came over the handlebars, and there was just pieces of Carl everywhere. It just sucked. All right, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.